Welcome to Couch Time with Sonja. That's Sonja with a J, with my co-host, Delia Cortez, where we don't talk, we communicate. Last segment, we discussed what legacy may have been left for you by taking an in-depth look at family experiences. Many of our viewers joined us through the week for our social media forum on Facebook at Couch Time with Sonja, and they were able to engage in a deeper discussion and even learn additional pointers to begin their legacy creation.
Yeah, that conversation was good. If you missed it, jump on board. Get on our Facebook, get on our Instagram, go to our website, and just give us some of your perspective. Let us know what you're thinking and a little bit about what your life looks like. So today we're going to discuss legacy further. We're going to discuss legacy from a parenting perspective. So in my case, I was raised by a single dad, raising 8 of us. And I love how he raised us to be, the wisdom he imparted, the ethics, the moral standards. I love that. Makes me really proud to be who I am. So, join us on the couch and hear a little bit more. We're going to have some special guests today, and Sonja's going to be really excited about that.
Yes, I am. Today's topic is informative, and every family needs this information that we're going to discuss. So, grab a pen and paper and take some notes. But if you miss any information that we're talking about today, we'll post it on our website, so don't worry about it. Go to couchtimewithsonja.com. And when we return, we will look at the first of 3 considerations when shaping your legacy. This week's Your Story Matters is from Mr. Will Archie of Houston, Texas, who shares nuggets on how he focused in on a particular trait that was important to him from past generations. Today, he continues to share that trait with his children. Let's hear Will's story.
Family legacy, good or bad, passed through me. I just have to say work ethic. Work ethic has been a legacy, I believe, on both sides of my family. I've been blessed to see that on both sides, to where women and men, they get up, they get themselves ready, and they go to work. And then they return from work and they take care of their family. That is a legacy. Now, there are many other things like honor and respect and stuff, but the thing I would like to focus on is a work ethic. Having a good work ethic today is not very prevalent. You know, you see a lot of people that they look for handouts from the government. They look at handouts from the church, but having a good work ethic is a lost art in the America that we live in today. So if I would say what legacy that has been really good for me is going to be work ethic. Change what really needed. I continue the legacy that I was taught, and people say that lessons are better caught than taught, and I would say that I just continue what I saw. As a young man, I learned that this work ethic was a good thing, because I did start working at 8 years old, and I did continue to use that work ethic. I did some school programs in the summer, and that was a good work ethic, because in order to buy your school clothes, you need to work for the summer. So I continued that work ethic that I saw from my family members, and I am continually, as a older gentleman, still learning how to increase and be a more excellent person with a great work ethic. One of the things me and my wife, we would try to drill into our kids is that if you need to be somewhere at 3 o'clock, be there at 2:45. Be 15 minutes earlier. Even sometimes, depending on the situation, you might want to be there even earlier. That defines good work ethic to me. to be accountable, to be on time, which is to be 15 minutes early or even better, to be a person that completes the task that they say they're going to do. That's, to me, some of the characteristics of good work ethic. So, passing legacy on to your children. Well, as I learned, some of the best lessons in life are caught, not so much as taught. So what I try to do is I try to be an example of executing excellent work ethic. And I hope that as our kids and some of the people that we've even mentored in our lifetime will see what we are currently doing and that we're being consistent in doing, that it would catch on to our children and others that we encounter. So I'm not doing anything other too much different, but being an example of work ethic. A legacy to leave. Wow, that's a loaded question, because as a parent, you want to leave it all. You want to leave respect, discipline, honor. So the thing that I want to stay on the vein of, though, is work ethic. There's something about work ethic that I think that puts you above your peers. Work ethic is not very prevalent now in corporate America. I've worked with a lot of people that they believe somebody owes them something, and they do things like take long lunches, or they don't show up, or different things like that. So the legacy that I really would like to leave to my children and my children's children is to have an excellent work ethic. And I think about it like this, that Jesus Christ, when he was with his disciples, he taught them a good work ethic by doing. He went, he served the people, he fed the people, and he served the people. And ultimately, he climaxed showing them a work ethic by teaching them to wash each other's feet as he exampled it. And he himself, the Messiah, humbled himself and washed his disciples' feet. So if I can leave anything, man, it's a great work ethic, that our children would know that a work ethic is what you need in this world to be successful.
CEO Jalea Davis is making history by becoming the youngest African-American female to own a television station in the nation. Along with her colleague, President Crystal Holmes, these women are becoming a part of the 1.3% African-American television station ownership. Get ready for iconic television, an all-new channel coming to your TV on KVVV channel 15.10. Covering Houston's local inspiration, entertainment, health, wellness, fitness, family, visual artists, comedians, and more. Streaming 24/7 on iconictelevision.com. Be sure to stay tuned for the latest and greatest on Iconic Television, where everyone can be iconic.
If you would like to submit questions or topics for the show, send us an email. Visit couchtimewithsonya.com. Thanks for joining us. Last week we discussed the 3 aspects to consider when delving into the topic of legacy: financial legacy, PMS, psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy, and relational legacy. When applying these to the family structure, as we did last week, we learned that there are a multitude of factors to consider. Well, just when you thought you had figured it all out, I'm here to tell you that we have only scratched the surface dealing with last week.
what happens when you focus your mindset from the total family to the single subject of just parenting.
That's good.
Each of the legacy aspects takes us on a whole new dimension, bringing about a totally different approach to the creation of your legacy and who you are. So let's take a really deep look at what this looks like.
I'm excited about this topic today. Let's start by considering the fact that the parental aspect can be viewed from numerous perspectives. Most people think of parenting as the God-given responsibilities that's owed to our offspring. That's what most people think, right? But it's much more than that. It's really the responsibility you owe to an aging or an ill parent who sacrificed everything to ensure your well-being. What about that, Delia?
So when you're thinking of financial legacy where it concerns your parents, it might be a slippery slope, especially if your parents are independent and self-sufficient. They may not want you involved in their business. They don't want to share all their secrets.
So true.
And they may still see you as a child. It's hard for them to see you sometimes as an adult. So how do you handle this? How do you handle when thinking of the expenses involved with taking care of an aging parent or someone who's ill? So let's look at that.
That's a good question, because I know that if you have that question and we have that question, you have that question. But you know what? What happens? What do you do when you have an independent parent and they're stricken with a debilitating illness today? Do you know what needs to happen and what their wishes are concerning their finances? These are really tough conversations that everyone really doesn't want to discuss.
Right.
But we need to, and we should lovingly have this conversation with our parents. And if you're unmarried and you have no adult children, the same conversation should happen with someone that you trust, that you care about. I'll definitely tell you, this is not a conversation that I enjoy having, but I don't think anyone does. But my husband and I have had to have the conversation, but I had to have this conversation with my parents. And my parents have taken care of things, and man, even though they've told me that, it's just not something I wanted to talk about, but it was a topic that was needed. And at least I know what to do if that day ever came.
I would say, as difficult as those conversations are, I appreciate the fact that my father and I had this conversation prior to his passing, that I knew what his wishes were, that I knew where his finances stood, and what I needed to do to step in.
Yeah, that's very good. So I hope that you're taking notes on this today and that you're having this conversation. And if you haven't, take the time to do that. Be sure to have what we call the just-in-case binder.
Right.
The just-in-case binder, have it somewhere with all of the information needed for another person to access it, because you never know when it may be needed, because they can take care of you financially if they have all the information in the event that you become ill and are unable to handle your own affairs. This brings to mind the fact that most people, they know about the importance of having a medical power of attorney, but they don't do it.
Right.
And in today's society, we want to make sure that everything is lined out so that there's no question. This is a legal instrument. A power of attorney is a legal instrument in which will enable the person you appoint to handle your finances in the event that you're unable to do so. Of course, we never want to have that face-to-face conversation, but we also know that life on earth it's not forever.
Right. So as you're making those plans, think about this. AARP says that over 50% of adults do not have a will in place.
Wow.
That's scary.
That is.
When you think of that just a bit further, we could look at the statistics for minorities. African Americans and Latinos is even higher.
Wow.
Over 70% of us do not plan for those emergency situations, and letting our family and friends know what we want to happen once we pass.
Yeah, that's huge, because that's preparation, and we should be prepared. So we hope you're taking note of that as well, is to be prepared.
Yeah. We don't want the family drama that can come with an unexpected death or even a planned death if you didn't appropriately let people know what your intentions were.
That's so true. I mean, we've walked through this and experienced this in our families, my husband's family. Just, oh my gosh, what happens when there is not a will in place is everything gets convoluted, and it is that drama that we do not want to have, especially at a death. You don't want to have that.
And so surprising, I've heard friends say, not my family, not in my family, we're close. But guess what? It happens.
Yes, it does.
So join us this week, either here or catch us online, as we discuss this further and we just really delve in to making that just-in-case binder that Sonja mentioned. So be sure you catch us there.
We're going to show you live on Facebook just how to put together this binder because we want you to know just how to do it for your family. And when we return, you will get the opportunity to meet our special guest. If you would like to be a guest or advertise your business on Couch Time with Sonja, I would love to hear from you. Email me. Visit couchtimewithsonya.com.
I'm Marlon Wilson, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
If you got a plan, just do it. Don't let anything stop you.
I'm Lauren Tolot, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
Live poor, poor, poor for the first full year as an entrepreneur. Probably 2.
I am Chloe Cook, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
There is no limit, as long as I'm willing to fail enough times.
Hi, I'm Samir Freedy.
You're watching Grind Time
with Night Wolf Productions.
You want to be the best, you gotta be a little bit crazy.
Start where you are, and start today.
I am CJ, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
Go find that passion and go for it.
I'm Avi, and you're watching Grind Time with Night Wolf Productions.
I always tell myself I'm gonna win, like this is gonna happen.
Stop settling for an illusion of success. Stop settling for an illusion of entrepreneurship.
And keep grinding.
Welcome back. Speaking of PMS, which is psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy, which is really by far the most important of all legacy aspects, the first thing that I'm reminded of is my mom and dad. My mom and dad actually left us my brother and I, a strong spiritual legacy. And I have to say, I'm very proud of that. And today I get to continue that with my daughters and my son and my grandson. My parents created a PMS legacy which actually molded, I would say, who I am today. And in honor of this first series on legacy, I am absolutely honored and I get to introduce you, my viewers, yay, to my mom and dad. And I have on the set today, Marvin and Betty Brown, my parents. So happy you guys are here with us today.
Miss Betty and Mr. Brown, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure meeting with you and just chatting a little bit.
Speaking of PMS, which is psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy, which is by far the most important of them all, the first thing that I'm reminded of is honestly a story with my parents, is that spiritual legacy. I was honestly left the most amazing spiritual legacy is because it was lived before me. My brother and I, it wasn't just something that they said we had to do. It was lived before us to live out our spiritual legacy. And I'm so grateful for that today. And so I thank both of you for that. My parents created a PMS legacy which really molded me into who I am today. And I'm grateful for that. In honor of this very first series on legacy, I am just ecstatic, and I want us to dive in a little bit deeper so that we can have a great discussion this week.
I love that you're here too. You have both instilled such high morals and ethics in Sonja. I know that as her friend and as her sister. So considering that, let's look at that high moral, high ethics, the person that she is. Did you learn that from your parents, from your grandparents? And how important is that today? Are you still sharing that wisdom and imparting that on Sonja and her married life and her children?
I think it's very important. My mom, she raised 7 of us, and it's because my dad died when I was very young, and she always instilled in us the golden rule, which was treat others as you would like to be treated. She always says, never mistreat anyone, because you never know who you might run into in the future. So that was a very important thing for us to learn to always treat everyone as we want to be treated. And there are some values that I believe that that was handed down to me, like to be honest, to be faithful, to be someone that people would trust, to be obedient, to be teachable, to be patient, which is one of the things that I am still working on, is to be patient, and persistent. And I'm hoping that as a mom to Sonja and Michael, that I was able to pass those things on to them. And I can see persistence definitely in
No
Sonja.
doubt there.
Because even in persistence is good, the Bible tells us in all areas of life, but in a spiritual way, it's very good. And so I can see that in Sonja. She's very persistent, which is a good thing.
Right.
And so, yes, I believe it's very important to pass those ideals and pass those values, especially those core values, down to our children.
I love that you added teachable.
Yes.
That's a good thing to have imparted, to have shared, because we need that, and that never should go away, regardless of how much older we get, how young we are. That teachable quality is a great quality that you have shared.
That's so good, because even though I'm an adult, I honestly would say that I still learn so much from my mom, even still today.
Mr. Brown, what do you want to add to that? Is there anything maybe she missed or you think is really important to jump in here?
Well, in our family, it was always God first. So we treated everyone that same way, that we didn't have a choice. I mean, that's the way it is.
Excellent input. Told you, my spiritual legacy is
Yes.
solid. Well, I can also truly say that you guys have been present in my life in every way, every aspect of my life, from being a little girl all the way through all of my sports, and even at those orchestra concerts that you really didn't want to go to. Girl, it was awful at times. But they were there. They were there, and they supported every step of the way. And I just appreciate that. Even remembering back to college days, and even remembering back to even when I have questions and I need to ask advice, you've been there, and your support has been amazing. So I thank you both for that. Not only have you been supportive, but most importantly, you've been encouraging to me. And today, I would honestly say Couch Time with Sonja wouldn't be if I didn't have the encouragement of my parents. They've encouraged me to always be all that I could be. And that was, don't accept just the bare minimum. Always strive to be the best at what you are. And I love it that they always said, whatever you want to do. If you want to be a basket weaver, whatever you want to do, just be the best at what you do. And today, I feel that I am the best at what I do. And even though people may say I'm not, I still say I'm the best at what I do.
Gotta be confident in you.
That's exactly right. But I want to definitely tell my parents today, publicly in front of all my viewers, how much I appreciate you and the legacy that you've left for not only me, but also my children, your grandchildren, that their tomorrow is brighter because of what you left. And also, I actually want to say here is that they were not always easy, though. They were tough at times too. But you didn't realize it as a kid that the toughness was really honestly there to help you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that then, but I see it now as an adult and as a parent of my own. Man, Delia, I see sometimes when they were hard that iron sharpens iron. And that was the way that they were sharpening me, was to be tough. And I appreciate even the times that was tough. I love you both.
Well, she keeps saying tough. What does that mean? Were you that tough?
Yeah. I grew up that way. And all the time, just because you've always heard people say, well, just because the other kids are doing it. Mm-hmm. That was kind of my way of thinking. I had to judge, okay, what's this all about? Who's going to be there? What's going on? that type thing. So that's if that was considered tough. Sometimes I said no when I could have said yes. I think about that now. There may have been times when I could have said yes, but I didn't. Maybe the grandkids would get that yes.
Oh, they get the yes now.
My grandkid gets my yes.
That's where the patience come in.
Absolutely.
Now, as grandparents, we have the patience.
That is so true, Mom. That is so true. And I think that this day and time, Delia, that I think that some of those old standards, sometimes I think that I wish those old standards would be back today. Because even though they said no and I didn't understand it at the time, there's sometimes a discernment that parents have. And you just have to understand that the discernment is there. But as a kid, and many of you watching, you know your kids do not think that every time you say no, it's for their best interest. But I will honestly say it was a lot of times my parents said no, that today I thank God they said no.
So they have, these strong Christian beliefs, the high morals, the strong ethics, the hardworking work ethic that Sonja has obviously came from you. But in thinking of those things and things you taught in the past, what obstacles do you see today, today's society, which is a little bit different, that would challenge the future of the PMS legacy in families?
Good question.
Well, today is so different in that what we grew up with, as a small town country boy, that was not a lot for us to do. You went to school, you went to church, you came home, you played. There's so many things out there that get our kids' attention, but the parents spend so much time because of the economic conditions now. It takes two. My mom and my stepdad worked. My grandfather, my grandmother both worked, but usually at night they were home. So many parents are working, two jobs. Where the family is defined different now. The nuclear family is no more mom and dad. Sometimes it's just mom, sometimes it's just dad.
So true.
Such as in my case.
That's right.
But I know that there's still 24 hours in a day, but it doesn't seem like that there's enough time. People think differently these days. That was a saying, it takes a whole village to raise a child. Not today. We don't even know our neighbor.
That's so true, Dad.
In our little town community, everybody went to church except one or two families, and everybody knew them. These days, you're the weird one if you go to church, There are adults who have never been to church. Kind of threw me for a loop when I heard someone say one time that they'd never been to Sunday school. But in being small town, that was what we did. And part of that teaching is that, you train up a child. People are not training up their children anymore.
Yes.
I know sometimes that strictness in our family was, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent.
Right.
And how many times did I hear that?
I heard that, well, you're not my friend. Well, I'm not your friend. I'm your dad. and your best interest may mean I have to say no.
That's good, Dad.
We're not getting that from the parents these days. Some of it is it wasn't passed on to them that way. We seem like we got a lot of freedoms over the last 20, 30 years, but free doesn't always mean free, if that
good.
makes sense.
That's good.
There is a price to pay for sure.
So true.
And I think we came left away from our core values of what we really believe in, and we need to evaluate how we are teaching them or how we are showing them to our children, grandkids, because when we say we believe in something, most of the time they're not listening to the words that we say. They are listening, or they are looking at the action
That's so true.
that we do. So we need to get back to doing the action and not just the words. Because as an example, if we say we value family and we work all the time, we're away from the home all the time, to them, they see our main core value is that job or that work, and it's not that we are valuing them. So we have to get back to the action and not just the words.
That's so good, Mom. That's good input.
I love that.
Yeah,
Love that.
me
What
as
good,
well.
what good recommendations you have for our viewers. I so appreciate that.
I definitely believe that is PMS legacy. That is psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy, really all wrapped up in one. And the last of the legacies is relational legacy. I remember as a little girl that I was always known as Marvin and Betty's daughter. Everywhere I went, oh, that's Marvin and Betty's daughter. But you know, I really loved it. I never had to be embarrassed by my last name. I never had to be embarrassed that I was associated with the Browns. I was honored for that. And it was so awesome because I took pride in that. But then as I grew a little older, you know, I wanted to, okay, can you stop calling me Marvin and Betty's daughter? I want to be known for Sonja Brown. And
Sonja with the J.
that's because I have to make sure people know. My mom wanted to be different. Yes. She didn't spell it with a Y or an I. It was with a J. But it's pronounced Sonja. And even today, I would honestly say, proud to have their name and their legacy. But also, I always say the S that's been on my chest, and I laugh, people say, is that for Superwoman? No, that's for Sonja. I wear that proudly because my parents left such a beautiful legacy for me.
That's wonderful. What a wonderful legacy that they have left you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about relational legacy. People may have a legacy that they're not happy with, that they don't want to continue that. They want to change it. What advice do you have for them?
Well, it's not always easy, and as you say, everybody doesn't have a positive role model, a positive background, but when you reach a point that you want to do better, then you begin to do better, and you're responsible for you. I know I was in a environment one time, and a young man was talking that how, you know, people always chatted him about being, you know, just like his daddy. And he said that when he had a son and someone said to his son, you're going to be just like your granddaddy. And he knew at that point he needed to make a change because he was number 27 of 33 children that his father fathered.
Wow.
And he didn't want that for his son. So he decided at that point to make a change. We have to tear down strongholds.
Yes.
And the only way that we can tear them down is we have to make the change. We have to decide, I want to be different. You can start your life at one point, and you can't change how it starts, but you can change how it finishes.
That's good.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Good.
You know, in my case, I was very proud of my beginnings, where my father came from. My father was a farm worker my entire life. But one of the things that he wanted me to change was he didn't want me to be a farm worker. He wanted me to attain my college degree. He wanted me to go after my dreams, but he wanted better. So I guess it's not necessarily negative, his beginnings, but it was my job to change it.
Yes.
To make the legacy better.
Yes.
Do you have anything to add to that, Ms. B?
Yes, and I believe you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can do it, and not have to use that as a crutch because you didn't come from this background or that background. But from then on, just say, I believe in myself. I know I can do it. And I believe that's very important.
That is beautiful and so true. As today, you're sitting here and so am I, together on the couch. Why? Because we believed in ourselves. We're so excited. I'm grateful that you, our viewers, got the opportunity to meet my parents today. But not only that, I pray that things that we've said and things we've discussed today, that it takes you to sit on your couch and have a conversation with your entire family about the importance of legacy. It all starts with you. We'll be right back. And then there was life. Born to color outside the lines. Born for such a time as this. You showed up on the planet to produce a dream. You, yes you, were born with purpose, with words. Friends, imagine that your dreams can become your reality by the words you speak. It all starts today. It starts with you. Creation, formation, transformation, all begin with change. The battle is in your mind, but your voice is your weapon. Speak life, believe, prosperity, creative, daring. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Your future is unwritten. Let's begin writing today. Your words create your world. How do you define freedom? Is it health? The ability to call a board-certified physician 24/7, 365 days a year. The ability to eliminate all future copays. Is it wealth? Cut your years to mortgage payoff by more than half and save hundreds and thousands in interest on mortgage, car, and other loans. Is it the gift of college scholarships for every child? Earn guaranteed scholarships at more than 360 private colleges and universities in 45 states. Or simply, abundance, time freedom, the perfect opportunity at the right time. It's all of these and so much more. We are looking for leaders, and freedom is calling. Join the Trivesta movement.
Welcome back. Thank you for being with us. In the previous segment, Sonja had an opportunity to thank her parents for all of the wisdom and the gifts that they have given her to make her who she is today. Let me take this moment to thank my dad. He is no longer here. He is in his heavenly place. But I am so grateful for the things that he has taught me, for who he taught me to be, for the ethics and the morals that he has given to me that I'm lucky enough to pass along to my children.
Yes, it's evident too, sweetheart.
Thank you.
It's evident.
I'm glad to take that moment. If you haven't had the opportunity to thank that person in your life, take that time now, whether they're here on this earth or not. It's nice to know that we recognize them for the gifts that they have given us.
And legacy not only consists of financial legacy, and there's that PMS again, which is psychological, moral, and spiritual legacy, and also relational legacy, but I love to say it's all about traditions as well.
Absolutely.
And I know for sure that there's a tradition that you have in your family that I'm so grateful she has in her family, which is making homemade tamales.
Yes. One of my favorite traditions, and one of the ones that I'd like to pass on to my family, although they haven't learned yet because it's a lot of work, is that tamale making. Especially at Christmas time, sitting around the kitchen or the couch, passing along family stories, cooking, the smell of food, a cup of coffee,
Yes.
and just hanging out.
Beautiful. And I also have a legacy with my mom. One is so beautiful. She loves to make sweets, and I have a sweet tooth. But today we have the opportunity to have some sweets from Chick Sweets. So we're going to enjoy some sweets today at the end of the show, though. And so I just want to know that, do you have a legacy, a traditional legacy that your family has? If so, keep the tradition going, especially if it's a good one.
And share some of those traditions. We want to know. Jump on our Facebook, our Instagram, our website, and just share a little bit about you. But before we leave, let's get some wisdom from some wise people.
Yes.
The Browns are here, and we just want to hear before we leave, what advice, what little chunk of nugget do you want to leave our viewers with?
I would say, never forget the golden rule.
And what is that, Mom?
Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you.
Very good.
Awesome. I was taught that so well.
And if you're dissatisfied with the legacy you've been left, you can change.
That's good. That's a good nugget. You never have to stay where you are.
Right.
Who do you look up to? Who's making a difference in your life? What we want to tell you is next week, join us as we talk about spouse and children, which is one of our dear subjects. We love our husbands and we love our children. Come back and we're going to talk about that next week. Join us on our social media platforms at Couch Time with Sonja, Sonja with a J, and also check out our website, couchtimewithsonya.com. We'll see you next week. You are created for greatness. Select, don't settle. There is something great that you are created to do. What is that, you might ask? A person living out greatness purposely selects and pursues the life he or she wants, while another person settles for whatever life brings. Great people live by design, the other by default. Great people experience life as a victor rather than feeling like a victim. Which set of descriptors fit you? The great news is you can begin today to design the life that you want because you are created for greatness, but you must select it and not settle. You're free to become more than others thought probable, and you can risk more than others thought practical. And you can dream, reach, and ask for more than what others thought possible. The simple truth is that you can design improvement in almost every area of your life. You can take better care of your body by exercising regularly, eating properly, and resting, really taking care of just you. You can improve your relationships by developing your communication skills and by investing more quality time in them. You can become and improve your financial condition by employing the disciplines of budgeting and saving. But how do you get there? How do you select rather than settle? It's deciding. Decide clearly and specifically what you want your life to look like. Then move forward with positive belief that you can and you will get there. Take responsibility for the choices that you make and the results your choices bring. The power and privilege of choice is immense, but it is always accompanied by personal responsibility. Step out on faith and be willing to accept the challenge of change. Change. It begins with thoughts, behaviors, skills, feelings, your responsibilities, new ways of thinking, but the rewards are worth the risk. You will never get to second base if you keep your foot on first. Understand this, or your circumstances will be about the same as they've always been. Participate fully. Life is not a spectator sport, and you must be 100% engaged in setting your course and selecting your destination. If you don't get in and stay in your game, someone else will be calling all your plays. Last, it is critical that you have, in addition to all the things that I've already said, the proper playbook to make change and the right coach to help you get there. Together, let's plan out your course and travel this journey together. My motto is, your vision, our embrace, unlimited potential. It takes love. You must love yourself enough to offer a solution. It will take a servant spirit. Take time and serve your dreams and those who are attached to your dreams. How? By taking the opportunity to work with me. Together, we will create the proper environment for you to succeed and achieve your dreams. This is your year. Ready to show the world your greatness? Schedule your embrace call with me today. Visit sonjalow.com. Remember, you have greatness in you. Embrace it and let the world see it. God bless you. If you would like to be a guest or advertise your business on Couch Time with Sonja, I would love to hear from you. Email me. Visit couchtimewithsonja.com.
It seemed like I'd never be complete, like I'd never be free. Seemed like there was no hope for me, and I'd never have peace. But Lord, you came, took never away. Now I'll never be the same. I thought I'd always have to cry, have a reason to complain. Thought I'd always be hurt, I just get used to the pain. But then one day, you took the pain away. Now I'll never be the same. Only you could do what you've done for me. Lord, I'm grateful for you. You never cease to amaze me. Never. It seemed like I'd never see the day that I'd be doing this. I thought I'd never have the chance, that it would only be a wish. But by your grace, I'm standing here today, and I'll never be the same. Only you could do what you've done for me. Lord, I'm grateful for you. You never cease to amaze me. Never. So I'll never be the same again. Never be the same again. Because of you, Lord. No, I'll never be the same again. I've been changed by your mighty hand.